All right, hello everyone. This is M-Dog, and we are checking out Russian Fishing 4. We actually have a giveaway to talk about today for this reel that you see on the screen now. This is a reel that is a very expensive reel in terms of the silver it costs because it is a high-end conventional reel that was released in the most recent update for Russian Fishing 4. So special thanks goes to Fishsoft and Russian Fishing 4, specifically Joe, who arranged this so that we could do this giveaway on YouTube. And I'll go over the details, but basically I'm just going to ask you to provide some information in the comment section underneath this video. And after a few days, I will randomly choose a winner from anyone who has commented. But let's take a closer look at the reel. Let's try to see if we can catch a fish or two on it, just to have a little fun with this. And then I will once again go over the details for the actual giveaway. But this is the Reef Borealica, if I'm saying that correctly, 30DS. You see the gear ratio, max drags at 34 kilo. Quite a huge spool. It does, of course, have saltwater protection, being a conventional reel. It features trolling, sea trophy fishing, and a great pull. And that's pretty much all you need to know. Oh, it does have a test starting at 49.5. So this is going to be something you're going to be using on your larger setups, obviously. And so I don't even have... So two things actually restricting me from being able to fully take advantage of this yet. So I need to continue to level my marine fishing. I think when I get to 75%, getting a medium boat rod that has a really high test as well as load capacity will be able to allow me to do some more aggressive things with this reel. So in some ways it's a reel that, based on where you are in the Norwegian sea fishing leveling process, it may or may not be something you want to use as your everyday reel. As we were talking about on my stream earlier today, you know, I probably wouldn't want to use this just to like catch your average fish out of the Norwegian Sea, because as we use it, of course, it's going to take damage, and the cost of repairing something like this high-end reel is going to be quite heavy, quite expensive. So I'll be reserving the use of this for me personally when I am maybe doing something like I'm doing now, using a pretty large jig, one of our huge fillets. So, you know, when I know that there's at least an opportunity that I could hook into one of the sharks or one of the larger fish species on the map. When I'm just fishing with lures or with smaller bait and am more likely to catch, you know, mackerel and saithe, some of the more common fish that we run into, then I will certainly be using a different reel for that. And like I said, I look forward to when I level up enough to actually put a rod, to pair a rod with this. This rod test maxes out at 420. Frankly, that's just not high enough for the types of things that you would likely want to do with this, a reel of this caliber. But for the sake of this video, let's just cast it a couple times. I'll show you where I am out here at the 55 meter hole. Right now, we're right at the border of H6 and H7. Using a different setup, I want to be clear here. I did not catch the fish that you see before you using this specific setup. And if I remember, I can actually show you what I caught this fish on if you're interested. In fact, the fish should show. Yeah, so the Flora Spilk 235, one of the pilker lures. But there are some fish out here. We've caught some spiny dogfish. So, you know, maybe this is an okay spot to cast out one of these huge fillets and just see what happens, right? So we're going to do it. It's what, 13:11 time-wise. We've got some rain. We're going to just drop this all the way to the bottom, which should probably be between 55 and 60 meters to the bottom. And then we will either get a jig step or some sort of pilker motion started in that bottom layer of the water. So that's what we're hoping for. As you can see, it sinking straight down pretty rapidly. By the way, if you've not used a conventional reel that has the gear ratio 4.01, and then we can switch it to 1.71. The way that you switch it is hit Control and Space at the same time. So that will sort of gear down, which can impact, of course, the way we're pulling those fish in if we actually get something pretty large on the line. All right, so let's go back to 4.01 and go ahead and close the bail here, and we're going to just get a little bit of slack out. We're going to start seeing if we can get, so we do have movement in the bottom layer. You can see that that's there, and we're hoping that we can get enough slack reeled in where we can actually get that jig step going. If we can't get the jig step, then yep, there's jig step. So let's see if we can keep this up at all. No, it already went away. So just based on the current and the weather conditions and everything, sometimes I find that the jig step's just easier to maintain than others. You may actually pursue getting a jig step other ways than this, which is fine, which is great. There are several different ways you can get that jig step going. But if you're not getting it like we're not right now, then if you really get more and more slack out of the line, eventually you'll get to a point where you're doing more either a pilker or a strong pilker technique, which is what we should get credit for now. I believe it will pop up. I still see that movement in the bottom layer. There we go. So now we get strong perking. What have I been saying? Have I been saying pilkering? Perking. So now we're getting strong perking, plus we're keeping it in that bottom layer. So by doing this, we are hoping that we will be able to find a fish down there. And what would be nice is if it doesn't take a super long time, but we'll see. This is a really big, both the bait we're using as well as the jig size. So who knows? All right, I'm going to drop it down just a little bit more. See if we can keep it in that bottom layer. No, we're still not, so let's do it a little bit more. All right, so now we're more consistently, oh, I spoke too soon. I don't necessarily mind pulling it out of the bottom layer, but especially with something this size where we're just trying to find that bite, we probably want to keep it down there as much as we can. All right, there we go. Let's see what we've got here. All right, so this was on the huge fillet of mackerel. All right, so while we have a second to test this, so let's go ahead and hit Control Space and gear down. It becomes easier to reel, although of course we're reeling in a lot slower overall. So there's the lower gear. And then we'll gear back up, see if we can pull it a little stronger. So this might be an all right fish. Nothing that we're actually having to really fight, which of course would be ideal, but something that has a little bit of size, I am completely fine with. Might just be a, mid-sized cusk or something since we got it off the bottom. Or it could be something a little more juicy. We'll see. So you can tell the difference, like it's just, you can't hardly pull it. But if you gear down, it's more like that 1-to-1 ratio or whatever it is. All of a sudden we can continue to make progress as we're pulling it in. So we are losing a lot of energy. Some of that was coming out of the rain, I think. Let's see if we can continue to address that as we're reeling this in. Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to pull it very well. What are we on here? 28 friction brake. We're hardly pulling at all unless we gear down a little bit. All right, so at least we got a fish pretty quickly using this reel. So I'm pleased with that. We might try casting one more fillet out after this, according to what this fish is. Up to 15 meters. I do like this area if you're trying to fish on the bottom, because even though we're at the bottom and it seems like there's some pretty nice fish over on this part of the map, it's not so deep that, you know, it takes just forever to pull it out. It's kind of a nice compromise. Again, out here in the 55-meter area. And he is right near the surface now. This is what it would have been like trying to pull it out without the lower gear ratio. It's just so difficult. All right, we should be able to see him. I think that is that a cusk? So if you were on my stream earlier today, you'll know that this is our first trophy on the new map. Very exciting. Wow. Everyone in chat is happy. Okay. Cannot complain. That was amazing. All right. So let's get the gear back up. Let's throw this right in front of us. And let's see if we can just get one more fish without taking too long. Don't want to belabor the point, and I do want to be able to get you all the details on entering in the giveaway. All right. What a nice fish, huh? So it looks like we're drifting east just slightly, but we're still in the 55-meter hole, so let's see what we can do with this one. All right. So you see there's still some slack in the line. So again, according to what you're using and the conditions and everything, sometimes, at least for me, this can be a pretty reasonable way to try to get a jig step going. But clearly we're not quite there. You can do it without right click just as much. So now we are getting some perking. So we used the mackerel last time. This time we're using the safe huge fillet. So when we right click, we're getting a stronger, because of how long we're holding it. I think we're going to go up into the stronger perking here. but I could be wrong. There we go. All right, let's drop it back down. Sometimes I just kind of like to get a little reset on everything. Sometimes I'll even reel it in a few meters and then drop it back down to the bottom. According to what you're fishing with, it seems like a lot of times either on the drop or right after a good drop, you'll be rewarded with the strike. All right, all right, so now we're going to be in that area where it may come up out of the bottom layer occasionally, right on the edge. Really got to be patient sometimes. Looking at the time of day. I could be wrong on this, but it seems like when there's a little bit of cloud cover, sometimes I have a little better luck. I am really being patient. All right. I think I will show you the other setup. Now, with this other setup, even in this spot, I wouldn't necessarily typically use this reel. I will use the reel one more time since we're featuring it and all. But yeah, I mean, you don't need all of this for the other fish we've been catching at the small sizes at least. All right, so we're going to go back to a pilker rig here, and we were using the Kraken Florispilk 235, and we had some specific attractants there with the yellow plastic rattle and the Ultra Flow Octopus. I think I saw this set up on on VK. I believe someone was out here catching specifically the Atlantic wolffish on this setup. So that's what I was trying to emulate, and actually was doing pretty well while getting ready to start this video. So let's see if we can get one more fish on this setup. Either way, whether we can or we can't, I will then remind you about the details of the giveaway. All right, so where are we? Now this is the, a pilking setup. So getting to the point where we're doing pilking is frankly, what we want. Although I always will take a minute right in the beginning, and if I can get a quick jig step, sometimes things really respond to the jig step initially. So I keep saying pilking, it's perking. All right, so there's a bite. Well, we go from a impressive cusk to a very small whatever this is, but at least we get to show you a couple fish here. Little redfish, nice. Okay, so before we wrap this up, again, this is the opportunity for a giveaway. If you would like to be entered into the giveaway for this Reef Borealica 30DS, this is what you need to do. On this video you're watching right now, go down into the comment section, and I just want to see your in-game name. So whatever your name is in RF4. In other words, if you were to win, this is the name that I'm going to send it to, right? And I also want just one sentence about your favorite part of the new content. So the new map or the new stuff, whatever it is. So I'll show you an example. I just pulled up Notepad here. My in-game name is MDog, right? So I'm showing what my in-game name is. My favorite part of the Norwegian Sea update is new type of fishing. All right, so just something like that, nice and easy. Just make sure I know your in-game name. And the reason why we're doing the favorite part of the update is, first of all, I just think it'd be interesting to see what everybody says. And then second of all, instead of just having like really short little comments under the video, I don't want it to look like it's just spam, right? We want a little bit more of a sentence structure. So that's why I'm asking you to do it that way. And in a few days, I'm aiming for like 4 days from now. So that'll be Thursday, sometime late afternoon, early evening. I'm hoping to go collect all of the names, put it in a random number generator, draw someone's name, and then send them their reward. And I'm assuming that I'll try to actually film the winner, me choosing the winner with the generator, just so that it's above board. As long as I can figure all that out, we will try to do that. So Thursday, it's Sunday. It's Sunday night, I'm assuming, when this goes live, perhaps Monday morning early. So, you've got around 3 or 4 days to hopefully see the video, enter the giveaway by putting your in-game name and your favorite part of the update in chat, and then I will randomly select someone at that time. So, hey, good luck to everyone. Really thankful that we got such a fun fish, and again, very grateful for the opportunity to do this giveaway. So thanks to Joe and all of the folks over at Fishsoft and RF4. Tight lines, everybody, and best of luck in the giveaway. I will see you next time.